Most traders think that getting a payout is just buying an eval and trading it like it's fake money and the payout will just come, which is completely wrong. Your first payout can feel impossible, but getting to the payout can actually be broken down into a process that reverse engineers the stages of getting the payout. This is Jacob. Within 6 months, he got his first payout from knowing nothing about trading. And this is Alex, who got his first payout after just 5 months knowing only the fundamentals of trading before. And neither got it because of luck. They used the exact same playbook that I'm about to show you right now. I'll go over the exact step-by-step process that we took to get them from zero to their first payout in less than 6 months, and how you can apply the exact same to get your first payout. Now, the first part of getting your payout comes down to the technicals, and this is about knowing your exact strategy and model. Now, how do you know if you know? It comes down to you being able to clearly define the full step-by-step sequence that you operate based on every single day when you sit and open the charts. Look at your current strategy. What are the things you do constantly? You open the charts. What do you do the moment you open the charts? When are you allowed to, let's say, go into your entry time frame, whatever that might be for you? And then you start looking at what are all the things you're doing. You're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing that, and that, and that. Now you can start to see what am I doing every single time in front of the charts before I execute the trade. Now you have the exact step-by-step process you take every single day before a trade. And you can now put it into a protocol, into pen and paper. You can say step number 1 is look at this. Number 2 is that. Number 3 is this, that, and that. And I will make a complete separate video on my complete protocol so you can see what I do every single day when I open the charts. But this is the first step. And why do we need to know this? Why do you need to know how to operate every single day? It comes down to one thing, and it's that we want to be as consistent as possible. Taking a payout is only about consistency. It's just about doing exactly what you know you should do. And to know what you should do, you first have to clearly outline your whole step-by-step approach. And to give you some more context on this, Jacob, who knew nothing about trading, we had to spend the first 2 to 3 months just getting the technicals in place. First, getting him to understand how we are trading, and second of all, knowing how to operate on it on a daily basis. Because the truth is this, getting a payout is only about statistics and data. You have a strategy, right? Which has a win rate and which has a risk to reward, where you know the expectancy of your wins versus your losses. These two metrics is everything you need to know. Why? Because this tells you that if you only follow the whole step-by-step process that we just outlined, you know that the payout is inevitable. You have a profitable edge, you have a win rate, let's say it's a 50% win rate, but your risk to reward is 3. So your wins are 3 times bigger than your losses. Now you have an edge that actually works, and meaning if you just stick to the whole sequence, the whole protocol you just made, the payout will come. So this is the first step, because you're not allowed to buy an eval account unless you have written down your whole sequence of events that needs to take place for you to take a trade. And this is the most common thing I see. I ask a trader, how do you trade? What is the exact step-by-step process you take every single day? And they cannot give me an answer. And this explains exactly why their results, their trades and performances are not consistent. Now you know how you trade. You know exactly what you do every single day, when you're allowed to trade, how you can trade. And now it comes down to actually starting the process of getting the payout. And we obviously need to start with an eval, buying the first account to get onto the funded stage. The eval stage should be a stage where you just want to get over with it as soon as possible. And ideally, I would recommend buying the accounts or choosing the prop firms that allow you to pass an account within a day, where you can risk the whole drawdown that you have on the account. And why do we want to do this? Because the eval doesn't benefit us at all. The funded stage is where things happen. So the eval, we just want to get over with it. So the only thing I need you to remember and print into your mind is that the eval stage is not to stay on for days or weeks. We want to get over with it as soon as possible. So the mindset shift that you need to make when buying an account is, if you blow an account, it doesn't mean anything. You will take losses, you will take wins. So either You lose the account on the first trade or you pass the account on the first trade. And you should just accept that before getting into it. Because if you don't accept this, what will happen is you will just go on, buy the eval, and you will be scared to put on the risk. And then you will have to stay on the account and trade it for way longer than we want to be on this phase for. So once we have passed our first eval and we are at the funded stage, this is where things start to get interesting and we need to do a few things. Because trading a funded account is trading, okay? But I want you to understand that it's not real trading. We have to put a strategy to the funded account and the trading itself on top of our current strategy and trading style we already have. Now, why do I say this? It's because if you have been trying to pass an account or trying to get a payout, I think you have realized that there are a lot of rules when it comes to the prop firms. And this is because this is the way they win. They put a lot of restrictions on you and they put a lot of rules and tiny bits of this and that to make it as hard and difficult for you as possible. So to make this as easy to understand as possible and as simplistic for you, I will talk about 50K accounts. And by the way, the 50K accounts are usually the ones, if you look at the percentage, that have the best drawdowns, the best profit targets. So that is something for you to look into as well. Now, the rules that I need you to pay attention to and that I need you to do your own research on the accounts and the prop firms that you are choosing is the consistency rule, the max payout, the drawdown. These three rules are the most important, and I'll go over all of them now and how we need to approach them in order to trade the right way and to get the payout. So the first thing we have to understand is the drawdown. Usually on all the accounts it's around 48,000, so you have a $2,000 drawdown. So this means that you're actually trading a $2,000 account and not a 50K account. This is one of the most important things I need you to remember as well. Because if you think you have a 50K account, you'll risk 1% or 2%, but in reality you have risked 25 or even 50% of the account you have. Then you have to know your consistency rule and you have to know your profit target, but more importantly, that will be determined by the max payout. And I'll explain what I mean. So the consistency rule is a rule that the prop firms put so you cannot have one good trading day that then leads to you having a payout. They want you to be consistent. And this means that they will put a 40%, 30%, 50% consistency rule, saying that your biggest trading day cannot exceed 30, 40 or 50% of your total gains on the account. If our account is standing on 55,000, we have managed to make 10%, but we have made $5,000 on the account. If we have a 40% consistency rule on this account, our biggest trade cannot be more than $2,000. And how do we get to 2,000? Well, we have 5,000, which is the profits we have made. Then we take 40% of 5,000, which means $2,000. So if your biggest trade is more than $2,000, you have to keep trading to make sure that this 40% rule is getting filled. Now, the third and final thing is to look at the profit or the payout that you can take, because usually they will restrict you per account. It might be 1,500, it might be 2,000, it might be 3,000. Let's say that they only allow you to take out $2,000 per account on your 50K account. This means that you getting to 60,000, making a gain of 20% will benefit you this much. Do you understand why? It's because you can only take out 2,000 of the 10,000 you have made. So you have 8,000 for nothing, forcing you to trade more and do more for no reason. Hello there, here I am. I just wanted to quickly explain why this is the case. And the reason for this is because the prop firms, they want you to trade as long as possible because they know and understand that then the likelihood and the probabilities of you blowing the account or taking trades, starting to take trades you shouldn't take, increases. So they want you to be on the accounts for as long as possible because they know the probabilities of you doing stuff you shouldn't increases. So this is the reason we want to be quick and know our profit target to just go there. And this is the strategy that I was talking about earlier. Understanding how each rule plays a part in how we approach the payout or how we approach the trading. And this then means that we look at, okay, let's say you can only take out $2,000 from your 50K account per payout. Then we want to look at 2,000 plus X equals our buffer. what is our real target on this account. And usually I recommend going for minimum the drawdown. So let's say you have a $2,000 drawdown, you have a $2,000 payout. That means that we want to get to 54,000 before we take out our payout. Now this gives us clear directions. We can only lose 2,000 before the account is blown, and we have to only make 4,000 before we have passed the accounts and we take out our payout. So now we can start reverse engineer all of this, understanding how much we need to risk per trade, how many trades roughly we will need to take, and what we need to do every single day and week to get this payout guaranteed. And when I say guaranteed, I don't mean that you will be guaranteed a payout. I mean that if you only do the right input, the stats and the data tells you that it's inevitable for you to get the right results. And why we want to have a buffer as well, I wanted to just add on that quickly. It's because the buffer, once we take the payout, will be what we have remaining before the account is blown again. So if you are comfortable with 2,000, we want to keep minimum 2,000 left in the account. So now we know everything. And now it's about planning each specific trade. For this, you have to look at your stats. What's your win rate? What's your expectancy per trade? Let's say you have a 50% win rate and you have a 3-to-1 risk to reward on average. You risk 500, you make 1,500. Now, how do you know how much to risk per trade? This comes down to two things: your risk tolerance and your win rate. What I usually recommend, and what I always let my students decide for themselves, is to choose a number between 6 to 10. And what does these numbers mean? Well, you look at the drawdown. We know that it's 2,000, right? You take 2,000 divided by 6 to 10, determined on your risk appetite. 6 is more aggressive, 10 is less aggressive. And then you divide it. So let's say you choose 10, divide 2,000 by 10. This gives you 200. Now you risk 200 per trade. You can take 10 losses in a row until you blow the account. But the funny thing here is, if you take a loss, you have 1,800 here. So now you divide that by 10. So rather than risking 200 still, you risk 180. So what this does, it makes it impossible for you to blow the account, because you keep decreasing the risk when you're in drawdown, and then you can increase it when you make profits. So now you can start to count. You know that making 54,000 is the goal. Sometimes you can leave runners, but 54,000 with a 40% consistency means you can at max per trade make 1,600. More than that and you will have to keep trading. So this puts a lot of calm into our bodies, into the whole process, because we know exactly what we need to do. We start off by risking around 200 to 300 depending on what we choose. We know that we don't need to make more than 1,200, 1,300, even 1,000. We stay there, we stop the trade, we let it go, we take our profits and come back the next day. So with this being said, I hope that you have learned and understood how to approach getting to your first payout, because this is the exact same playbook that I taught Jacob and Alex, and that they used every single day together with me on a daily basis to make sure that they got the payout. Now, the important thing here is to understand that you will blow evals. Jacob, he blew 3 evals before he got his first funded, and then he got his first payout on the funded. So he didn't blow a funded account. And Alex, he only blew 2 evals and also got the payout on the first funded account, just because he followed this exact process, this exact sequence in the learning stage, but more importantly during the funded stage, to guarantee that he will get the results he wants, because he keeps doing the input that he needs to do. And the only difference between them and you is that they worked with me one-to-one directly. We used to talk every day and we had weekly calls going over the week and week ahead to make sure that they were held accountable and that they did what they should. So if that's interesting to you, you can DM me on the Instagram that's linked down below. Until next time, I believe in you and peace out.